What's up guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll show you how to make this dress with draped front tie. So let's get started. First, you fold your fabric into two places. We're going to cut the top part first and we're going to cut the back bodice first. So next you take your half length measurement. So it's from your shoulder to your high waist. So I have 16 inches for mine, and then I added 2.5 inches. So on this top part, you take your shoulder measurement. So you divide your shoulder measurement by 2. For mine, I have 8 inches. And then for the armhole, I used 9 inches. And then I marked it here. On the armhole line, I'll take my bust measurement. So you divide your bust measurement by 4. I have 9 inches. And then I add 1 inch for seam allowance. And then on this part, I'll take the waist measurement. So you divide your waist measurement by 4. I have 8.5 inches. And then I add 1 inch for seam allowance. On the armhole, I'll take 1 inch for the armhole curve. I'll mark it here. And I'll draw a curved line here, like this. And then on the shoulder line, I'll take 1/2 inch downwards like this. And then I'll mark it down to this place. So when I'm cutting, you see. So here's the back bodice. To cut the front bodice, you fold your fabric into two places. But this time, you're folding it bigger and longer. So you make it wider and then longer. And then you go ahead and place your back bodice on the front bodice. And then you mark it out. You go ahead and trace out the back bodice on the front part. And then you remove the back bodice and you place it in a slanted form around the armhole. So here's the front armhole. You place it here like this, and then you place it in a slanted form like this. So what I did was to place the armholes together, the front and the back, and then I placed my back bodice in a slanted form. I'll go ahead and trace out the new line. So after tracing out the new line, I'll take 3 inches from this part. So I'll mark out 3 inches. I marked out 3 inches here. I'll mark out 1 inch on the center fold. So here's my 1 inch. And then I'll connect this line to this line. Just to be clear, I marked out 3 inches from this part, and then I marked out 1 inch from the center fold. So I connected the lines from here down to this place. I'll go ahead and take this off and then fold this to the other side like this. Just flip it to the other side. Again, I'll place my back bodice on this part. Place my back bodice on the other side, and then I'll go ahead and trace it out. After tracing it out, I'll just take this off and then open my pieces. So here's the front bodice. I'll just go ahead and connect this to the other side. I hope you can see it. So the next thing is to cut it out. So we're cutting from here to this place, down to the other side, and down to this place. So when you're cutting, you ignore this old line and then you cut on the new line. To cut the neckline, I folded my front bodice. I'll just place my back bodice on it like this. For the neckline, I'll take 2.5 inches for the width. And then 1 inch for the depth. I'll go ahead and draw a curved line here, and then I'll cut. And then I'll take the back bodice off. For the front bodice, I'll just place my tape here and mark 3 inches. And then go ahead and draw a curved line here. So for the back, I used 1 inch for the depth, and for the front, I used 3 inches. I'll go ahead and cut it. To cut the bottom part, I folded my fabric into 4 places. So the next thing is to take the length of the dress. So the length of the dress is 45 inches. I'll remove 16 inches, which is the measurement of the other half of the dress, and then I'll place it on my 45 inches mark, and then add 2 inches for seam allowance. So I have 47 inches. You come over here and take your waist measurement. So you divide your waist measurement by 4. I have 8.5. I won't be adding any seam allowance because 1, I don't have enough fabric, and 2, it's a stretchy fabric. And then for the hip measurement, I'll use 9 inches. So I'll end up ignoring the seam allowance I added to the top part. Divide your hip measurement by 4. I have 10 inches. And then I'll mark it here like this. And then I'll just go ahead and cut it to the bottom. So here's the bottom part of the dress. So the next thing is to cut the sleeves. And to cut the sleeves, you fold your fabric into 4 places. For the length of the sleeve, I'm using 13 inches. For my arm circumference, I used 8 inches. So you divide your arm circumference by 2, because I don't want the sleeves to be tight. And then on this part, I'll just come over and draw a line like this, and then bring it down. And then cut. So by the time I measure this, I'll have about 11 inches, which is almost the same measurement I have for my armhole. And then I'll cut. So after cutting, I'll go ahead and notch the middle. Before going ahead to join the pieces together, I'll take the front part of my top bodice and I'll drape it over like this to get the measurement of my belt. So when I drape it, I'll take this measurement. So I have about 6 inches. So I have 12 inches altogether. So by the time you measure it like this, you have 12 inches. And then I'll notch this part So here's my marked point. Then I went ahead to cut this belt on fold. So I have two. So I measured it and I had about 19 inches. And then I have 6 inches, which is the same measurement I had on the top part. So I have two of these. On one edge of the belt, I'll just go ahead and draw a slant line like this. And then I'll cut. So I made a slant line on one edge of the belt. And then I'll take one of the belt, I'll sew it together with the right sides facing each other. I'll sew it on this part and then leave this part open. The other belt, I'll just take it and then I'll place it right sides together and I'll go ahead and sew it on this part. I'll stop at my marked point. So you sew it from here like this and I'll come back and show you. So after sewing this part together, you go ahead and sew it together like this. So you go ahead and sew the belt from here down to this place. I've sewed the belt together and then I stopped right here. And then I'll flip it inside out. For the other side of the belt, I've sewed it together and then flip it inside out like this. So the next thing I did was to attach the belt to this side of the front bodice. With the right sides facing each other, you go ahead and join the bottom part to the top part on the waistline. You do the same for the back bodice. You join them together at the waistline. So here's my back bodice. After joining the top part to the bottom part, you go ahead and join the shoulders together. With the right sides facing each other, you go ahead and join the shoulders together. So after joining the shoulders together, you go ahead and join the sleeves. To join the sleeves, you mark the notched part to the shoulder line and then just pin it and then sew it together. To join the sides of this dress, you go ahead and pin the armholes together and then you pin it also at the waistline and then you sew it from the sleeve down to the end of the dress. You sew it together with the right sides facing each other. For the neckline, you go ahead and check out my video on how I made the animal print dress. So I use the same technique for that neckline to make this neckline also. Lastly, you go ahead and hem the sleeves and then you hem the bottom of the dress. And that's it. So here's the dress. Please like and share this video and please subscribe to my channel if you have not. I love you for watching. Thank you.